have her.
All right, let me take this opportunity to bring in our guest for this hour. Joining me, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor David Bruno, and litigation trial attorney Rich Schoenstein. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Truly appreciate it. And Rich, I'll start with you. I think this prosecutor is doing a fantastic job. As I'm listening to him, he's pointing out things that I had made little notes on, and if I'm a juror listening to him, I think there's a couple of aha moments in there, this idea of what evidence there is and isn't about what Ms. Schabusiness did that night.
I love the substance of this prosecutor's closing argument. And stylistically, one thing I like is he keeps talking about the verdict form. And that's so important to tell the jury exactly what questions you're going to be asked and how you're going to answer them. But his explanation really holds together. If anything, she was high on meth. That's not a mental defect. That's not an excuse. That's not what she claimed. And the argument he's making right now, that all of her efforts to cover up the crime prove that she had an understanding of her wrongdoing, that is a compelling argument to me. I like the way he's making it.
Yeah, no doubt. David Bruno, what's interesting is if I'm on the defense's side, I'm saying there's really no evidence to suggest that she was cutting him up because she wanted to hide it. Maybe she was just doing that but for pleasure. That's something she was doing. She idolized Jeffrey Dahmer. That's something he did. Maybe she was doing it that way. But here's my question for you. Basically, it seems to me at this point, the only place where the defense has to hang their hat is this idea that you can take into account long-term drug use and the possibility that it caused long-term or permanent damage to someone's brain. That has been established, but the prosecution made it very clear there's been no evidence to that. Their expert didn't really testify that she found long-term damage due to long-term drug abuse. Without that, I think he's in really, really hot water.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what he did right too. I agree that the beginning. Let's just think of this, right, Michael? Because we all know what the important issue before this jury is going to be. Is it the drug use, or is it psychosis, bipolar, or any of the other disease or defects that they have to determine here at this penalty phase? So what did he do? He started out by using the words of the defendant on this critical issue. There's primacy, recency, right? There's the way that jurors and lay people remember things, and he starts with the most important right there, using the defendant's own words about her drug use on the date in question, which is the most substantive period of time. I think that, look, there's plenty of explanations as to why she's crazy. I mean, the fact that she used a sex toy on the corpse, that she performed oral sex on the corpse, that she mutilated this body. That is not a way to hide a body by putting a head in a bucket. I mean, on its face, there's a lot of troubling activities here. This is the issue that the jury has to determine here.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. And as a matter of fact, guys, they've actually begun to deliberate. We're a little bit behind because we hit the pause button throughout the day. But as you can see, our clock is up. And it's only been a minute, but they're in that deliberating room hashing this out. It only took 38 minutes to determine that she was guilty. We'll see how long it takes for them to determine whether she is not guilty by reason of insanity. Let's take that break.